So now let us take up the various points regarding this Coulomb's force. So I was telling you, when 2 point charges Q1 and Q2 are separated by distance r, then force F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon Q1 Q2 by r square. This is the force. Now, if these two charges are placed in air vacuum, either it is air or vacuum or free space, in air vacuum free space, then what would be the formula for this? In air vacuum free space, this permittivity epsilon, it is termed as epsilon naught, the absolute electrical permittivity of free space. Epsilon naught is termed as the absolute electrical permittivity of free space or air and vacuum, epsilon naught. You know, the value of epsilon naught was determined as 8.854 into 10 power minus 12 Coulomb square per Newton meter square or Farad per meter. The units are Farad per meter. You know, this is even while solving the problems, instead of using this value, better use 1 by 36 pi into 10 power 9 Coulomb square per Newton meter square. Epsilon naught, the absolute electrical permittivity of free space. Epsilon naught is given as this value. Now, in recent JEE Mains examination, the question was given, what is the dimensional formula of epsilon naught, the absolute electrical permittivity? The dimensional formula of epsilon naught is m minus 1 L minus 3 e power 4 I square. Now, this is the dimensional formula. You know, its significance, mass dimension is negative. It is an electrical constant whose mass dimension will be negative. M minus 1 L minus 3 t power 4 I square is the dimensional formula for epsilon naught. The units, Coulomb square per Newton. You know, this was the previous entrance examination somewhere long back. Coulomb square per Newton meter square or Farad per meter, F by M. These are the units there. So putting this value in this, so the force in air, the force of attraction repulsion between two charges in air vacuum free space, F in air vacuum free space is, this is given by the formula 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by r square. Now, this is the formula. Now, substituting the value of epsilon naught in it, it's 1 by 4 pi. Now, while solving, always in problems, better not use this value, so that it will be helpful to calculate the things easily. 36 pi into 10 power 9 Q1 Q2 by r square. Now, pi here and this is 9. This goes to the numerator. So, force in air is 9 into 10 power 9 Q1 Q2 by r square. Now, this is the value of the electrical force between, the electrostatic force between two charges Q1 Q2 separated by distance t. It is 9 into 10 power 9 times Q1 Q2 by r square. That is the reason why electrical force, electrostatic force, Coulomb force is a strong force. Even for a minute charges, the force between them is so strong that we are able to notice it. Whereas gravitational force is a weak force. For a huge mass of earth, when you consider such huge masses, then you get a little amount of force. But electric force is a strong force, very strong force. Actually, when you consider gravitational force and electric force, then comparison, when you take the ratio of it, it's almost 10 power 36 times. Electrical force is 10 power 36 times the force between the things when compared to the gravitational force. So it's 9 into 10 power 9 Q1 Q2 by r square. This is the force between two charges when they are in air. Now, from this you can get the definition for 1 coulomb. Look, let Q1 is equal to Q2 is equal to 1 coulomb, and let these charges be separated by a distance of 1 meter. Then substituting, we get F is equal to 9 into 10 power 9, 1 into 1 by 1 square. So the force F is 9 into 10 power 9 Newton. So what is 1 coulomb? Unit charge 1 coulomb. It is that equal charge on two stationary point charges. That equal charge on two stationary point charges separated by a distance of 1 meter in either air, vacuum or free space, which will make them to repel with a force of 9 into 10 power 9 Newton. That equal charge is termed as 1 coulomb or unit charge. 1 coulomb is defined as the equal charge on two point charged bodies separated by distance of unit distance in air, vacuum, free space, which will make them to repel with a force of 9 in 10 power 9 Newton. This force is called as this unit charge. This charge is called unit charge or 1 coulomb charge. So this is the formula for the force when the charges are in air, vacuum, free space. What would happen if the charges are separated in a medium? If there is any medium between them, then what would be the force for the electric force between the charges when they are placed in a medium? Now, Coulomb force between two charges in a medium. So let's consider the point charges Q1 and Q2, right? Separated by distance, same distance R, but between them there is a dielectric medium, an insulating medium. There is an insulating medium that is existing between them. Then what happens to the force? The force between the two charges is maximum when there is air, vacuum, free space between the charges. Any other medium between the charges always reduces the force. So there is force being decreased. Why it is decreased? Now, when there is some medium placed between these two, then the permittivity of the medium. So I was telling you, first the medium shows influence on the charge, influence on the force between the two charges. What influence that the medium will show is given by permittivity of the medium, the electrical permittivity of the medium. And this electrical permittivity of the medium is some capital K times epsilon naught. It is capital K times epsilon naught. Epsilon naught is the absolute electrical permittivity of free air, vacuum, free space. For any medium, it is epsilon. This is the absolute electrical permittivity of any medium. So epsilon is K times epsilon naught. So K is epsilon by epsilon naught. This is also called epsilon R. Relative electrical permittivity of the medium as compared to air, vacuum. It is called relative electrical permittivity, or K, capital K. K is termed as dielectric constant. Dielectric constant, or this is relative electrical permittivity, or it is also termed as specific inductive capacity. Specific inductive capacity. So K is termed as relative electrical permittivity or dielectric constant or specific inductive capacity. All the three mean the same. Now it is the ratio of, what is relative electrical permittivity? It is the ratio of absolute electrical permittivity of the medium to the absolute electrical permittivity of free space. It is ratio. Ratio has no units. So this has no units and no dimensions. It has no units and no dimensions. It's a mere number, dimensions. It is just a mere number. And the value of K for vacuum, when you consider vacuum, K is 1. For air, K is 1.006. Now for glass, if I consider glass, then K is 4. For mica, its K is 7. For water, K K is 81, so on and so forth. For a pure conductor, when I consider a pure conductor, then K is infinity. So the least value of K is for vacuum or free space. Air a little bit more, all the three you can consider it as 1. Air, vacuum, free space, K is always 1. Right? So as you consider like this, K value is increasing. Look, for a pure conductor, it is infinity. In fact, K actually determines the electrical conductivity of the electrical conductivity. Shows it's a parameter which determines electrical conductivity. For a pure conductor, K is infinite. For the most bad conductor, it is K1. No medium can have a value less than 1. There was a question asked based on this one in previous entrance examination. For an insulator, the value of K could be, right? K could be, the options were given as -1, 0.5, K it is 1/10, and it is D option is 5. For an insulator, it cannot be negative, it cannot be less than 1, it cannot be a fraction like this less than 1, and it is 5. The answer is 5. So K cannot take a value less than 1, right? For any medium, K is greater than 1, and different mediums have K value like this. So K, dielectric constant or specific inductivity, it is the ratio of the permittivity of the medium. Substituting this in the force, we have defined force F is equal to some K naught Q1 Q2 by R square. K naught is Coulomb's constant. So this we have written as 1/4 pi epsilon Q1 Q2 by R square. Now this is the force for medium, electric force between two charges when they are separated in a medium. It is 1/4 pi epsilon Q1 Q2 by R square. But epsilon is equal to K epsilon naught. So substituting here, force in any medium is 1/4 pi epsilon naught times capital K Q1 Q2 by R square. So this is the formula for the force between two charges in a medium. When a medium separates the two charges, then it is 1/4 epsilon naught into K Q1 Q2 by R square. Now when I compare this force, now we know we have already determined the value of 1/4 pi epsilon naught as, in a medium we have found the value of 1/4 epsilon naught as 9 into 10 power 9 by K Q1 Q2 by R square. So force in medium is 9 into 10 power 9 Q1 Q2 by R square. We have just now proved 9 into 10 power 9 Q1 Q2 by R square. This is the force between two charges when air is the medium between them. Then force in the medium is equal to force in air by K. Force in air by K. So whenever a medium is placed between two charges, force reduces K times. So due to the presence of the medium, force decreases. The force between the two charges is said to be maximum only when air or vacuum, air is present between the charges. So force is maximum for air. For any medium, force will be less. So this implies force due to the presence of any medium is less than force when air is present between them. Okay. Suppose if glass is placed between them, it reduces 4 times. Mica 7 times. Water 81 times. Now there was a question that was asked earlier. When two charges are separated by air, the force is F naught. When a glass slab is placed between them, then the force is F dash. Write the inequality between these two. Now whenever a medium is placed, force reduces. Answer is. In another entrance examination, it was asked for the same question. Instead of glass, if a metal slab is placed between the charges, a metal conductor, right? Conducting slab is placed between charges. Then initial force is F naught. Now the force is F dash. What could be F dash? When you place a metal conductor. For a metal conductor, I just wrote K is infinity. So we know force in any medium is force in air by K. Now K is infinity. So force in air by infinity becomes C. So whenever a metal conductor is placed between two charges, there will be no influence of one charge on the other charge. No mutual force. Coulomb force reduces to zero, right? So why does this happen? We will be talking about this in the later classes. But K, whenever a metal slab is placed between them, then the force becomes zero. For any medium, force decreases. The force is said to be maximum when the charges are separated by either air or vacuum, right? So this is the formula for the force in air or medium, right? Next, let us talk about the properties of Coulomb's force. Properties of Coulomb's force. Now these points are important for entrance examination. You can ask you as theoretical questions. So first point, Coulomb force is applicable for point-sized charged bodies. First, for point-sized charged bodies. This force is similar to the Newton's gravitational force between two masses. It is Coulomb's law is analogous to Newton's law. So first, Coulomb's force, it is applicable for point-sized bodies. Right? Second, it is Coulomb's law, Coulomb's force is applicable to Newton's gravitational force. It is analogous to Newton's gravitational force. Next, third, Coulomb's law obeys Newton's third law even, right? Action-reaction pair. So I was telling you, if the charge is Q1 and this is Q2, a charge can never exert force on itself. It cannot apply force on itself. It exerts force on the another charge. So this exerts force on this charge, repulsion, and even this exerts force on this charge. This is the force on the second charge due to first one, force on 2 due to first. This is the force on 1 due to second. And both the forces are action-reaction pair, right? It obeys Newton's third law, action-reaction pair. And there is an important point to note. It is an internal force. You know, in center of mass first year, right? Center of mass. Internal forces cannot change the position, velocity or momentum of the system of masses. So this force, Coulomb force, is an internal force. Because of the Coulomb's force, the position of the center of mass will not change. It's an internal force. It is applicable for point charges. It's similar to gravitational force. It is an internal force. It is action-reaction pair. Fourth one, it is a conservative force. Now what do I mean conservative force? The work done against this force in a closed path is always equal to zero. Force is conserved. It's a conservative force, right? Next, Coulomb force, it is applicable for stationary charges, right? Charge at rest. If charges are, I was telling you, if charges are in motion, moving charge constitutes magnetic field. Even there will be magnetic force exerting between these two charges. So the electric force and the magnetic force acting on simultaneously on them. The net force is the vector sum of these two forces. So when you have to find the electrical force, you have to consider only the static force. That is, they must remain at rest. Right? Coulomb force is applicable for this. And one more thing, it is a long range force. This force is applicable for large distances. For small distance, it is not applicable. There is no electrostatic force existing for distances less than 10 power minus 15. For all distances less than 10 power minus 15 meters, less than 1 for me, there is no Coulomb's electrostatic force. They are long range forces. They are applicable for long distances, far distance, right? So these are the basic properties of Coulomb's force. Force between two charges, right? Force experience, force exerted by one charge on the other, right? Next, let us take up some problems based on the Coulomb's force, the applications of Coulomb's force, problems on Coulomb force. First question, If two unit charges are separated by unit distance in air, what would be the force between them? So there are two unit charges. What do I mean unit charges? 1 coulomb each. Separated by distance, unit distance is 1 meter. Then the electric force between them. The electrical force between them, F, is given as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by d square. Now Q1 and Q2 are 1 each, 1 coulomb each. Distance is 1 meter. So therefore electrical force is, we know the value of 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is 9 into 10 power 9. 1 into 1 by 1 square. So the electrostatic force between them, it's 9 into 10 power 9 Newton. Two unit charges separated by distance of unit distance in air, then the force between them is 9 into 10 power 9 meters. First question. Second, suppose this force is inversely proportional to square of the distance. Now based on this the question can be asked like this. When two charges are separated by a distance d1, the force between them is F1, right? So when the distance between them is d1, the force is F1. So therefore F1 is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by d1 square. Now the distance between them is now changed to d2. Then the force is F2. It's 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by d2 square, dividing this cancel. So F1 by F2 is equal to 1 by d1 square by 1 by d2 square. This is written as d2 square by d1 square. Cross multiplying, the relation between force and distance, F1 d1 square is F2 d2 square. When two charges are separated by a distance d, then for distance d1 the force is F1, for distance d2 the force is F2, then F1 d1 square is F2 d2 square, the relation between force and distance. Third, suppose there were initially two charges Q1 and Q2, the force between them is K Q1 Q2 by d square. Now the charges are shared or changed to Q1 dash and Q2 dash. For the same distance, the force is F dash. Then it is K Q1 dash Q2 dash by d square. Dividing both, right? Dividing, this is 1, this is 2. Dividing 2 by 1, F dash by F is equal to, it is K Q1 dash Q2 dash by d square. For the same distance, different charges. Here, same charge, different distance. So it is K Q1 Q2 by d square. So K cancel d square. Then F dash by F is equal to Q1 dash Q2 dash by Q1 Q2. When you compare the force for the same pair of charge at two different distances, F1 d1 square is F2 d2 square. When you compare the force between different pairs of charges for the same distance d is same, then the force F dash to F, final force to initial force, Q1 dash Q2 dash by Q1 plus Q1 Q2. So this is the force that is existing between the things there, right?